Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 19.04.02. This will cover the work undertaken between the 16th of April to the 29th of April. Our sprint goal for this sprint has been to continue with the back office project, this time with the addition of rebates against permanent placements, also to work on the tasks area so that this offers task creation and editing options. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, in this sprint, we've been able to introduce the option of creating a rebate against a permanent placement. This is for informational purposes only for the time being, as we work towards invoice generation within Colleague 7. However, for those clients using the hybrid model, rebates will be copied down from Colleague 7 to version 6. We've updated the tasks area so that you can now create new tasks and edit existing ones. I'll give a demo on this shortly. We've added a setting which prompts the history form to appear when using the click to dial feature. We've added an update to the working for us alert so that the user has an option to include upcoming placements. We've added the payroll reference and NI number to the candidate record under payment details. And we've updated the status field on checklists so that this works as a field in its own right. It was our intention to look into applying a spell checker to all text editors for emails, documents and templates, but sadly due to staff sickness this work could not start, so this will be carried over to the following sprint. We'll now go through a brief demonstration on the key features from this sprint. Okay, so the first point to go through is rebates, which is a new feature that's been added to the permanent placement record. Before starting within here, if we quickly go to in the admin area under user group permissions, what you'll see is there are two new options that have been added here. One is view placement rebates, the other one is to add or edit placement rebates. So I've got these both set to full access, but if they were set to no access, then within the placements you wouldn't be able to see the placement rebates option as available. And sorry, there's a view and then there's an add or edit. So you could, if you had that one set, you'd be able to view them, but if you didn't have this one set to full access, you wouldn't be able to actually edit them or add them. But within a permanent placement, now off the view more, if it's second level authorized, that is, then within the view more menu, you've got placement rebates here as an option now. And on selection of that, it will bring down a table for the partial field, just as it does as standard with all functionality of this nature. You then have a hide or show placement rebates option in the toolbar, and you've got an add placement rebate option that's available here. So if we hit add placement rebate there, what you're going to see is the placement fee appearing here. What you've got is a unit of measure if you wish to specifically rebate against a certain period of time, or a certain number of days, weeks, months, for example, or you could just do a manual rebate. If you do dates, weeks, months, then you can specify a rebate period within here. If you're doing it manual, then you're essentially just doing a manual rebate. What you're able to do is essentially entering the percentage, which will then calculate on the basis of the placement fee. So if you entered in 15, for example, here, it's going to give you a value in the rebate value field as a 15% of the placement fee. If we change that within here to say 300, then you'll see that the rebate percentage will in turn replace as well, or be updated. So it will calculate either or on the basis of the placement fee. Description here, you can rebate for early finish as an example. Put your description there, hit save, and then you've obviously got your rebate value or rebate record now present there. And obviously these records will then be used when we're further down the line dealing with invoice generation. It will pull on records such as this so that you're able to generate credits and invoices, of course, in relation to rebates and obviously invoices. But for the time being, what it does is obviously creates this rebate record. If you have the hybrid model with version 6, this rebate record will be copied down to the version 6 system against the associated placement record, and a rebate will be created against there to reflect it, and then obviously that invoice process through that model will continue. But for the time being, within Colleague 7, obviously this area has now been added, and it's always part of the back office project that we're implementing to slowly put in place all of that functionality so you can generate invoicing from the 7 system. But that's the key update that we made there. The next point to cover is relation to tasks. It was the other key item from the sprint. So the tasks is obviously an option off the left-hand navigation there. Within the tasks area, previously it would list all tasks created, and previously you could only create a task if you were within an entity and you were creating a history as part of that workflow. So we obviously want to give you the means of being able to administer tasks properly. So we've created, just added some workflow in this area. One being the ability to add a new task. So on selecting add new task, it will bring down this form view. You can select which entity type you want to add the task against, which is going to obviously then associate the link that you get within the task to link to the record. So if we select candidate here, you can then look up for your candidate record that you're looking to search against. We then enter in our task, which can be a follow-up call perhaps. Specify our start date, and the dates associated with the due date and the reminder date will update accordingly based on that. We obviously have an ability to specify a specific reminder for the action to take place at a certain time over the course of the day, and obviously a due date for the time where it should have been done by. We can enter our test task comments, and then we hit save, and that will obviously create the new task against the user's record, and specifically obviously against their Office 365 account as well. So obviously it'll go within Outlook as well, that you have that task now. But what you can also do on selection of the task is you can also now edit the task as well. So there is the means to be able to select a task and edit it accordingly. So if we select this task, hit edit, and then what you can do is change the subject, the due date, the start date, any of the reminder information, the task body. You can make obviously updates needed there. So follow-up call to discuss opportunity, and then we'll change that to be for Monday as an example. And then we'll hit save there, and obviously that then updates that task, and you can see that you've got the task updated there as needed. If we go into the candidate record, what you'll also note when creating tasks now, and it's the same as when you're creating diary entries, is that it will create a history entry against that record. We've done it that way so that we can keep a track history-wise of the different tasks that are being created on the system, because that will in future allow us to be able to show tasks associated with different users in the system. The task is also created when you complete a history log is also created when you complete a task now as well. So if we go into the task area, and as an example, let's just say we'll complete this task. What it will also do is ask if whether or not you want to create a new task against that same record. So you can hit yes or no. If you hit yes there, a new task form would appear with it automatically assigned against that record. So you can have that sort of carryover if you like, but if not, you can just hit no on that. But if I go back to that candidate record quickly, just to demonstrate that task completion created a history record. What you can see there is you've got task completed there from today's date, and obviously that the dates that the tasks are added are the start dates of the task in the history log. So you've got task completed there. So those are the key updates that were made as part of tasks in this sprint. The next point to cover is just with regards to the click to dial feature. So this is the telephone option that appears next to all telephone numbers within the system. If you have this set up and enabled, to work with your telephony system, then on pressing this icon, it will then call out using that phone system the number that's obviously held within the field. What we've done is we've added in a setting which also prompts the history to be created as well, the create history feature function to be prompted as well, and that just means that when you've made that call out, you're then set up straight away to be able to take notes in relation to the telephone call. So this option is available within your user settings, also in global settings as a global wide setting, but it's under the section of system, and you'll see an option here for prompt the create history function when using click to dial feature. And if that is set to yes, then when you're within a record and you want to make that call out, just press that button there. You can see it's prompted the history form to be generated, but also at the same time it's prompted the call out. And in this instance, I've got Skype for Business, so it generates this view here, and then I click this button to make the call out via Skype for Business. So that's just for optimized use when using that feature, just to have the ability to be able to log that history log nice and quickly as part of that process in a single workflow. So that's the update we made there. The next point to cover is relating to the Working For Us alert. So the Working For Us alert is the alert that appears when you're entering a candidate record and they have a active placement in process. So it's to alert the user that that candidate is currently in a placement. What I have currently against this record is a situation where I've booked this candidate into a placement, but it's set in the future. And the specific requirement that was requested was that there be an option whereby you can have be alerted to future placements with that Working For Us alert. So you'll notice on the against the experience record, we've got a placement that's due to come up on the 9th of July to the 14th of August there, but currently there's not a placement actually that's in between that date range. So hence when we first go into the record, we don't have that Working For Us alert option appearing. Now, if we go into the user settings, which I've got set up here, under the section of Working For Us, you'll see that there's obviously the show Working For Us alert when the candidate is open, which I've got set to yes, but you've also got a mark candidates with upcoming placements as Working For Us. So if we set that as yes now, when you refresh the record, you'll see that Working For Us alert come through. So basically you're now able to be informed of whether or not basically there are any future placements in play with this candidate record, and obviously any offers that are pending will also be displayed here as well. If there's a pending offer, that will come through on this alert as well. So that's essentially the crux of the feature, the ability to be able to have it so that it alerts you just if there's a active placement in motion, or also if there's upcoming placements as well, and you need to make sure that's set to yes if that's how you would like the system to work. And there are user settings, and there's also an overriding global setting for across the whole system, so that's in place now. The last point to cover is just a minor update that's made against the candidate entity in relation to the addition of 2 extra fields. So within the candidate entity, if you've got permissions to view this area, you've got in the under payment details, we've got 2 different options now that have been added, or 2 extra fields that have been added. One is payroll reference and the one is national insurance number. So those 2 options have now been added in to this form. Those fields are searchable and can also be merged into templates as well, associated to the entity. So that's just 2 extra fields that we added there. As always, if you have any queries or feedback, please get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, for those using Colleague 7, feel free to submit your enhancement requests via the support team or directly to me using the above email address. The next video will be the sprint plan for 19.05.01, and as always, that will contain a high-level overview on the items we intend to work on during that sprint. Thanks for watching.